Here we have our ingredients: some diced onion, some coconut milk, some brown sugar, our braised beef, the Rendang Curry Kit, some diced green chilies, some oil, some good quality dark soy sauce and good quality fish sauce, and some water. The first step, we're going to brown the meat, add some sort of deep caramelising to that, get some extra flavour into the dish, because this dish is really all about the beef. Right, first step, we'll heat our wok or saucepan. We'll add the oil, not too much. Let that take some heat for a little bit before we start adding the meat. We'll add the meat in small batches so it doesn't cool the pan down too much. We want to really brown this meat off. We don't want it just sort of going grey. Right, the oil's beginning to smoke a little bit now, so we'll start adding the meat, just a few pieces at a time. So I've added the first batch of meat, turned this heat down to medium now, still sizzling nicely, and leave those pieces of meat to brown where they're connected to the pan. If you try to turn them too early, they'll stick, so we need to give them at least 3, maybe 4 minutes before trying to turn those over. There you can see, that's the sort of colour we're looking for, a nice brown crust. This is the sort of thing you get when you're roasting a nice joint in the oven. So we've turned all the pieces over, see they're nicely browned on one side, and we give them another couple of minutes on this side before we put the next batch in. Our last batch of beef is now nicely browned up, so we'll take that out of the pan and we'll add the onions. Okay, we'll add the onions now. Cooking the onions in that oil in the pan that the beef's been cooked in will mean that the onions will deglaze the pan. We get all that browning flavour that was left on the bottom of the pan into the onions, as you can see. Cook them for a few minutes until they start to go a little bit golden brown. The onions are now ready, so we'll return the beef to the pan. We'll add the Rendang Curry Kit spice mix. The rest of the ingredients, so sugar. Not too much, it's not to make it especially sweet. Coconut milk. I'm only making a portion of 2, I'm only using half the tin there. Diced chilies, they're optional. You can de-seed them or leave them with the seeds in if you prefer it hotter. Break that firm piece of coconut milk down so it starts to melt into the sauce. We'll add a little dash of soy sauce. And a small dash of fish sauce. At the end, when you taste it, you can add a little bit more soy or fish sauce if you like. Stir that in. Just need a little water now to cover the meat, and then that will be left to simmer for 2 hours until the meat's all beautiful and tender and just melts in the mouth. And as we get towards the end of cooking, we're going to turn up the heat and start to reduce that liquid down so we get a really nice thick sauce just barely coating the meat. Our sauce has now come up to the boil. We've turned it down. It's now simmering on a very low flame, just sort of 1 or 2 bubbles coming through the liquid at any time. And that's the best way to simmer your slow cooked braising and stewing meats. Keeps as much of the juice inside. They'll still get tender and they'll be absolutely fantastic. Our curry's been simmering away nicely now for just under an hour. As you can see, it's reduced down quite a bit, so I'm going to add some just boiled water, stop it drying out, not too much, so by the time we've had about another hour simmering, they'll start to get really thick. This curry's been simmering away for just under 2 hours now. It's really reducing down. It's on the lowest possible heat and bubbling away more vigorously now because of the reduced amount of liquid. So that should be thickened down to a nice thick rendang sauce in about the next 10-15 minutes. Nearly there, still a little bit too much sauce, so a couple more minutes yet. And that's it, that's about ready now.